Hi, my name is Sarah, and welcome to my channel, Naughty Gnome Crafts. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, welcome. And if you're coming back, thanks so much for watching. So in today's video, I am going to talk about the Project Dress a Girl, which is a sew-along that was started by Madi of Madi Sews. And it's this wonderful initiative that there is a charity called Dress a Girl around the world, and Madi is inviting members of the sewing community to make dresses for charity and educate girls about human trafficking. So I'm not going to go in depth into all the information about the charity because there have been several videos put out at this point, and I will just refer you to Madi's video about the project, and I'll link that in the description box below. But I was very excited to be asked to participate as one of the YouTube channels, and I wasn't sure initially when I was going to be able to get to this, but because I'm the kind of person that if I'm committing to something, especially something like a charity project, I want to make sure that I follow through and that I don't flake. So I actually was able to find some time over Labor Day weekend because I actually had a little bit of time off that I sort of forgot about, and so I had more sewing time than I was anticipating, and I was able to sew up 2 dresses for the Project Dress a Girl, and I'm going to share those with you. Before I forget, you can't really see too much of it here, but I am wearing my Keep It Simple Babe tee out of a cotton modal jersey that I got from Style Maker Fabrics, and it has these little ruffle sleeves that I added, and I do have a full review of this pattern, so I will link that up above. But let's just talk about the dresses that I made for the charity. Now, Madi has a tutorial on her channel to draft your own dress that actually looks very similar to the ones that I'm going to show you, with one small difference that I'll get into. But because I'm the kind of person who would just rather print out a pattern and sew it up rather than draft myself if that's possible, I actually found a free pattern on the Oliver & Ness website. If you're not familiar, Oliver & Ness is the children's line of Liesl and Company, and there is a free dress pattern called the Popover Sundress, and it comes in sizes 2 up to size 8. And you can use 44-inch wide fabric. I think it's actually designed for quilting cotton, which is what I ended up using. So I just went ahead and downloaded that pattern and followed the instructions, and I found them very easy to follow. So let me just show you my first dress, and then we'll talk about some more of the details. So the first one that I made is out of a Rifle Paper Company quilting cotton that is left over from a dress that I made. I made the Jennifer Lauren handmade Sorel dress, and I had about 1.5 yards of that fabric left. So I went ahead and made this dress. So as you can see, the dress is very similar to the one from Marty's tutorial, but hers has elastic, and this is actually just a fold over yoke. So there's no elastic, but otherwise it has the tie straps, it has the A-line shape. And I will insert a picture of the dress in full so you can see what it looks like. So for this version, I made the size 5, and it was very easy to put together. The only thing that I will say about the construction is that it is a little bit tricky to lay out the bias strips on the amount of fabric that it says that you need. You might find yourself needing to piece together your bias strips, which is not a big deal, but just if you haven't done it before, you might want to look up making your own bias tape. And if you are not familiar with bias binding, don't skip that step. You might be tempted to just cut pieces on the straight of grain because it would be simpler to get it out of your fabric, but you really do need the bias because this armhole seam is cut on a curve, and you definitely need bias to go around that. So that's the only little tricky bit. I think like all of these seam allowances on this dress are 1/2 inch. So I did end up trimming a little bit off of the seam allowance when I attached the binding just to the underarm part so that it would be less bulky. But yeah, I think that is literally the only part of the dress that's a little bit tricky. Otherwise, it's very, very simple and quick to put together. The fronts and backs are identical. And yeah, so that was the first version that I made. And then the second version, I made the same dress, but in a size 8, so it's significantly larger. And this fabric is another quilting cotton from my stash that is from the Michael Miller collection. It's by Laura Gunn, and I think it's called Poppies, something about poppies. I had a bunch of this fabric in my stash. Again, I had about 1.5 yards left. So I went ahead and pre-washed it and made it up into this dress. And I really liked that I used these florals because although I have a lot of fabrics that are like cutesy little animals and stuff, sometimes I think, especially for older girls, it might be nice to just have something a little bit more, I guess, grown up or less cutesy anyway. So that's why I went for the flowers. And also both of these are fabrics are quilting cottons that are on a darker background, so they're not sheer at all. There's no chance that you're going to be able to see through this dress, and that was one of the requirements of the charity, is for obvious reasons you don't want the dress to be sheer. So as I was saying, it's the exact same construction as the first dress, just in a larger size, and I will insert a picture of the full dress so that you can see what it looks like. So if you are looking for, as I said, you don't want to draft your own pattern, but you want to participate in this charity event and you have some leftover fabric in your stash, I do highly recommend this pattern. I think that it even comes with like an 18-inch doll size, which is cute just if you wanted to make it for your own child, like have little matching dresses. But yeah, and I also really liked participating in this challenge because it was a way for me to use up some fabric that's been in my stash for a long time. So it's also sort of a sustainable challenge for me and making use of what I have. So I'm so glad that I participated in this challenge. Thank you so much to Mari for inviting me to participate. And I am going to be donating these to my local chapter of Dress a Girl Around the World because I looked it up on the website and it turns out that there is a local host here in the city where I live. So that's really convenient. And thank you again to Mari, and thank you to everybody else who is also participating in this challenge. I just think that it's a wonderful thing for us all to take part in. And if you liked this video, I hope that you'll hit the like button. It really helps people find my channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.